Right before the attacks in San Bernardino, President Obama told CBS that Americans should, quote, stop overinflating the importance of terrorism.
ISIL is not going to pose an existential threat to us. They are a dangerous organization like Al-Qaeda was, but we have hardened our defenses. Our homeland has never been more protected by more effective intelligence and law enforcement professionals at every level than they are now. The coordination is much better than it is now.
The president not commenting on the fact the Islamic State used social media to cheer the San Bernardino murders. Sympathizers using the America Burning hashtag in Arabic on Twitter. Joining us now, New York Times bestselling author Brad Thor, his latest book, Code of Conduct, the founder and president of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy, Zuhdi Jasser. Good to have you both here. Zuhdi, let me start with you. This attack, now we're trying to determine whether or not it is terrorism. We heard Dr. Faris, Walid Faris, say it is clearly and obviously an act of terrorism. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, every time these things happen, we try to get lost in it. We do get lost sometimes in the details where they traveled, and at the end of the day, the intoxicant is the same one. It is political, radical Islamic supremacism, and it is about the dehumanization of the West, and they're even getting to softer targets now. It's no different than Chattanooga, Ottawa, Paris. Bottom line is we need an intervention, and you can't have an intervention in a community that's addicted to political Islam unless you call it what it is and you get past the denial. And Lou, the president is enabling our denial from dealing with the problem.
Yeah, in one instance, CARE, the activist organization for Muslims in America, which, by the way, the United Arab Emirates, among others, has declared it to be even a terrorist organization, had trotted out the brother of the perpetrator before anyone had even, authorities had even talked to him. It was an extraordinary moment.
How did they even have such contact to be there immediately? They didn't defer him to the FBI. I mean, it's just sort of bizarre. And yet, you know, listen, we're here in Washington because we have a summit of Muslim reformers that we've met, and we're going to have a declaration tomorrow to put groups like CARE on notice that it's not just about condemning the violence, it's about condemning the supremacism of Islamism, right, the caliphate, jihad, and that's how you measure what's behind what they're doing. Well,
there are over 3,000 mosques in this country, Brad Thor, as you know. They have doubled since September 11th. Over the past 15 years in this country, we've seen the number of immigrants also more than double into this country. And we are having a discussion about good and bad Muslims. I mean, this is mind-boggling to me that the country is on tenterhooks, afraid to say radical Islamists, because so goes the politically correct groupthink in the White House. By the way, this one and the previous White House as well. Americans are too stupid to know the difference between a radical Islamist and a Muslim.
Well, I agree with you. And in the soundbite you played, Lou, before Zuhdi and I joined you, it talked about, you had the president saying how protected we are, law enforcement, intelligence, and all this kind of stuff. That's great. But political correctness erodes all of the efforts of our law enforcement and intelligence communities. The fact that the president won't even say radical Islam is a big, big problem. And my issue, you know what, I think America is a wonderful country, people of all faiths. But we have a real problem here in that we are combating radicals physically. We are not doing enough to combat the ideology. And we look at a group like CARE, and Zuhdi, my friend Zuhdi, and it's great to be on with you, Zuhdi, he nailed it. How the heck did they get the brother-in-law? By the way, this bumbling brother-in-law says, I don't know if the guy was radical, whatever. His own father said he was a very, very radical, devout Muslim, prayed, all this kind of stuff, but the father characterized it as being radical. So we've got this issue. And I said last night on Megyn's show, I said sending CARE out in a situation like this is sending NAMBLA out for someone who's been accused of pedophilia. CARE is a horrible, horrible organization, but they give cover, and the left supports them, and the left bolsters a group like CARE with political correctness, where you had this neighbor who was afraid of reporting what he saw at this house because he was afraid of being called an Islamophobe. This is insane. I can't believe this is the country we're living in.
I can't believe, frankly, the comments that fall from the lips of Barack Obama, our president. This is a president who said he would degrade and destroy the Islamic State, and then at the same time says it's not an existential threat to the country, as if it's in some sort of sophomore tutorial at the University of Chicago. Zuhdi?
Yeah, I mean, and by the way, the Islamic Republic of Iran or Saudi Arabia, those Islamic states that really are the incubators for ISIS don't matter. So it's just bizarre how, the reason naming it matters, you want to know who your allies are and who your foes are. The reason Americans are confused on who are the moderates and who are our side of liberty versus the theocrats, we don't have leadership with the courage to name it. And once you name it, you can figure out that we're your allies who are reformers, and the enemies are the theocrats and the Islamists, like the CARE organizations that are really part of the OIC lobby.
I think we have that courage. I think our leaders don't.
Amen.
And I'm talking about both political parties. And I think that they're getting a sense right now, as we are watching what is happening across this body politic, I think they're getting a sense that we're going to demand this time leaders worthy of us, rather than putting up with more of what they have offered up, which is thin gruel at best and highly predictable. Brad, what are we to do here? We're looking at as many as 10% of the Syrian refugees, so-called, we don't know if that's accurate or not, but are Islamic State terrorists, are suspected of being so by the Europeans themselves. We have the governor of Texas today filing suit against this government, the federal government, because they basically said, no matter what you want, Governor Greg Abbott, we're going to send you Syrian refugees.
And
your
like
thoughts?
New Jersey, we won't tell you where they're going either. That's
Right.
the other kind of thing. Catholic charities and the government are stashing people all
They know
over.
better
not
than
telling them.
They know better than we unwashed, just working men and women, folks,
our betters,
citizens.
Our betters. Luke, my problem here is that if Nissan had a car, all right, or if Nissan vehicles had a defect where they sped up and swerved into oncoming traffic and disabled the braking system, we'd go, wait a second, 10% of cars do that from Nissan? Let's halt all imports of Nissans until they fix that problem. I wouldn't say, hey, Lou, Brad Thor here. How are we going to fix these Nissans? Not my problem, not your problem, Lou. It's Nissan's problem. So I don't understand why we are not putting pressure on the Muslim nations that have sent these bad guys here. Why are we not saying, hey, you know what? We're going to put economic strangleholds on you. We're going to do what needs to be done to force a reformation in Islam, because Judaism has had a reformation, Christianity has had a reformation, and I love Zuhdi Jasser to pieces. But Zuhdi Jasser alone can't force a reformation in Islam, and that's the only thing that's going to fix this.
Well, tomorrow, watch our press conference, Brad. There's many of us moving to reform. We just need the platforms. Thank you.
Zuhdi, thanks for being with us. Brad, thank you very much.